The 2024 Tennessee football orange and white game is in the books. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. If you're interested, final score 21 orange, 14 white. Really doesn't mean anything. Every player playing for both teams and stuff. But overall, feels like a successful day out here in Neyland Stadium. Start with the offensive side of the ball. Your initial takeaway from what went down on offense.
Yeah, you know, your top three quarterbacks, I think, kind of all had their moments. Nico, you know what you're getting with him, so you didn't really come out here expecting, to see anything different. Obviously, there late in the second quarter, gets the touchdown throw to Chaz Nimrod. And Gaston Moore, a guy who's your number two guy right now probably, and been in the system for a while, followed this coaching staff from UCF where he played initially. Seems to have a good grasp of the offense. It has played really well, efficient in the last two spring games. Obviously made the highlight. It was on, the other end of the highlight play today, the 63-yard touchdown toss to Mike Matthews, in the 2-minute drill there before the half. So, and then Jake Merklinger, a guy that came out and performed, I think, solid too for a freshman, his first time in Neyland Stadium in a game-like setting. So your three quarterbacks all lead, all kind of have their moments, all lead scoring drives. I think those guys did well. And then obviously your newcomers at receiver, you kind of had some shining moments too.
Yeah, you mentioned the newcomers at receiver. I thought what Chris Brazzell did, I thought what Mike Matthews did were really positive today. Matthews with a great play, kind of finding the open space, a good throw from Gaston Moore, but an impressive catch for him. Not a newcomer, but Dayton Sneed always seems to have a good orange and white game. He had another good one today. But those two receivers, along with Jake Merklinger, kind of some newcomers, some fresh faces, two freshmen and then a transfer, I thought had really positive days out here. If you have to pick a negative from the offense, I think you have to talk about the offensive line. There was a few times where Nico doesn't really have much room to operate, but you have to, at the same time, talk about the injuries.
Yeah.
You're missing Cooper Mays, who's going to be your starting center. You're missing Javonte Spraggins, who's going to be one of your starters at guard. And then your other starter at guard's probably either Andre Carrick or Jackson Lampley, and both of them don't play either.
Yeah.
So your entire interior of your offensive line isn't playing here in the orange and white game. You have your tackles in Lance Hurd and John Campbell Jr., who maybe you could have wanted a little bit better out of stopping some of those edge rushers. But when the operation is missing three of its key pieces, it makes things a lot tougher. On the same note, though, maybe you can give a little bit of credit to that defensive line. Rodney Garner, he's had high expectations for it. Tim Banks has had high expectations for it. They've talked about just kind of how good this unit really could be. So, well, on one hand, you maybe blame the offensive line. On the other hand, maybe you kind of tip your cap to the defense and some of those guys for having a good outing. But that's kind of what spring games are, I guess, is it's tough to find your takeaway because it's one side good, one side bad, or you're kind of tough to put your finger on it. What were your thoughts on the defense, though?
Yeah, I thought overall, coming into it, it's really, like you mentioned, starting up front, that's a really elite defensive line, or should be anyway. A lot of experience coming back, really solid. And I think they took a little bit of advantage of some of the injuries up there today on the offensive line. But I think, the secondary is still a big question mark for this team. I think it's, like Josh Heupel said in there, he thinks it's the most athletic that they've been in the secondary. Obviously some new pieces there with the two new transfers, some newcomers coming in, some freshmen, some guys that played a limited snaps last year that are going to be taking on bigger roles, maybe even starting this year. You saw a couple plays here and there. Jordan Matthews is a guy that broke on a ball early and knocked it away from Dante Thornton. I thought was good, but then he was also on the Mike Matthews play, I believe, that Matthews scored on. So I think they left a little bit to be desired there, in the secondary overall, but a group that you can certainly see when Josh Heupel's talking about the athleticism, you can certainly see it's there. And again, like you mentioned, it's a spring game, and this is what it's meant for, to work out the kinks.
Yeah, I'll round out the group, talk about the linebackers. I thought that was a pretty positive group overall for Tennessee, stepping up, fitting the run game, dropping the coverage when needed. Keenan Peely doesn't go today. Aaron Carter still out from his previous injury. So you roll with Jeremiah Thielen and Caleb Perry out there. But to what Coach Inch talked about the other day, they want to be versatile and they want to have guys that can fit in different spots, and that's what we saw is guys who maybe you think of traditionally as a will playing at the Mike, guys you think of as a Mike playing at the will, and being able to flip some guys and fit what you want to do, I think is going to be a big thing for Tennessee this year. You saw it on display tonight with at least one of your starters, maybe a second starter depending on the jump Aaron Carter can make in the fall, not able to go. You had guys pretty seamlessly step in, it felt like. So I think that's a big deal for Tennessee going forward. Special teams, touch on it real quick. The return game, obviously, there's not actual returns, but you get a little sneak peek of who's going to be maybe returning back there. Dylan Sampson takes the first one. You saw Boo Carter out there. You saw Jermod McCoy. We saw Deshaun Bishop take one. So there's a handful of guys as they try to figure that situation out. Squirrel White's going to be another guy in the mix. He's not here today. Nothing to worry about is what kind of the word is, but he's not here. He's going to be another guy that's going to be in the mix for taking those. And then extra points, you don't miss one. I guess that's good. You saw some issues kicking field goals at the end. We'll see what that kicker situation looks like. I think that's probably the biggest weakness of the special teams right now, though. We talked to Mike Eckler just the other day. He talked about how confident he is in this return game in kind of those coverage units, and even Jackson Ross, who you would expect to take a big step, who, I mean, punting against air, you would expect it to be good, but he did fine today. I think the biggest question right now is what kicker is going to stand out. You got 3 guys to choose from, kind of up to them to figure out who's going to be the one to really take the reins of this kick game. But you've had good kicking with Chase McGrath and Charles Campbell, so you expect to have another good season under Josh Heupel in the special teams department, but we'll see. There was about a 40-yard kick there that 2 of the 3 missed, so that's something that's definitely going to be have to be ironed out at least. That'll do it all from us here today, though, here inside Neyland Stadium. We have baseball right after this. Game 2 of the series, Tennessee taking on defending national champions LSU. The Vols were able to grab Game 1 on Friday, looking for the series win here on Saturday. Tennessee basketball, Lady Vols still kind of going through the welcoming of Kim Caldwell as she's been introduced as the new head coach. And then the men's team, 4 players in the portal right now, looking to add some transfers and maybe keep some other guys on the roster. So there's news across Tennessee athletics. If you want it all in one place, it's over at VolReport.com. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.